It feels like only yesterday that the original Stanley Parable released on Steam back in 2013, and at least 3 weeks since its expanded semi-sequel, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe opened its gates in a similar fashion. Although not proven, it may be possible that you're aware of the simply countless sequels spawned in such short time since then, after developer Crows realized they could make exactly 47 more, in a press release released shortly there before. Consequently, that proved to be incorrect, and we shall all tweet accordingly, as just earlier today, the Stanley Parable 48,
Stanley's Big Hole,
was released to the public, brimming with some content for players such as this man to enjoy. Loading into the game, it's clear that developer Crows have not lost sight of what made the original Stanley Parable so thrilling. Fan favourite features such as the ever-classic office balloons, continually memorable red filer, and rugged reassurance bucket all make a return in full force. In conclusion, particular attention should be drawn to said balloons, which still contain a complimentary 12th birthday wish to the fan favourite stepniece, a possible oversight or even error on developer Crows part in light of her recent 11th year alive, so on and so forth. For this reason, the graphics of this game are phenomenal. While walking the office halls, I couldn't help but feel as though I was actually playing a game in which I walk through office halls and do various officey things, a feeling which is only heightened by one word, one feature that the Stanley Parable 48,
Stanley's Big Hole,
has finally managed to nail down: bumpscosity, and what have you. As you may already be aware, the content in the Stanley Parable 48 and even the entirety of the Stanley Parable series, aside from a slight bump in the Stanley Parable 8,
Deadly Gun,
which was just a bit too much for my taste, has been exactly the same since the Stanley Parable 2, but that's okay because I haven't noticed, which makes it an absolute must-play if it may be that you haven't either. It must be noted, however, that at this point, most players prefer sandwiches around lunchtime, but if I must be honest, I'm much more liable to pasta, which I agree is the most satisfactory outcome and the biggest asset to this game's replayability in doing so. Easily one of the biggest things the Stanley Parable 48,
Stanley's Big Hole,
should be commended on, however, is the
Stanley's Big Hole,
subtitle,
Stanley's Big Hole.
The fact that all
3
of these words exist is a huge merit to its coherency, and as such, the broom closet ending is my favourite ending. With that being said, that's actually a lie, tricking you momentarily with a reference to the game, as my favourite ending is in fact the confusion ending. The adventure line continues to represent my favourite character design of the entire cast, from its robust form and supple curves, which are all that's keeping me from shaving my neck and removing my fedora, which I must tip to Jennifer Aniston. Her performance in the Netflix original film Murder Mystery was something to behold, and I'm very glad that you and I both get to live in a time where Octodad Dadliest Catch could undergo a large discount at any moment. As always, all things considered, and if you enjoy running to room 425 at the start of each playthrough in an attempt to see the Creepy Man, then I suggest you do so, as the Stanley Parable 48,
Stanley's Big Hole,
is best enjoyed after a warm bath, paired with smooth jazz or the Futurama theme song, as was the case with the Stanley Parable 12,
Inspector Paperwork.
Easily the second best Stanley Parable if you respectfully bring a gift even if I ask you not to. On a more serious note, it should be noted for clarity's sake that Francesco Scatino, captain of the Costa Concordia, was not and had not played this game during the time of the ship's overtonation, which I'm sure you'll agree allows the Stanley Parable 48,
Stanley's Big Hole,
to stand on its own until just yesterday. While on the subject, it would be remiss of me to avoid bringing up the sound design, which is why I simply must say that there's a large sale on porcelain birds right now, so I suggest you avoid the supermarket until the rush passes now, you see? I'm gonna be honest, my heart's not really in this one. Like, I love the Stanley Parable, who doesn't? It's a masterpiece. But, like, how am I supposed to review this? It's so complex, crammed with nuance and clever commentary around every corner. There's no way I can write, film, edit, and what have you, a review video that somehow captures all of this in a reasonable time frame since the game's release. But it's that allure. The way I'm rewarded by the system for creating relevant content while you still care. You're the problem. You just want a quick fix of pertinence, a setup or two, and a handful of punchlines. Call me a wet blanket all you like, but personally I prefer the term rational blanket because I know exactly what's going on here. All you really want is a video that you can point at and say, wow, I feel validated knowing that I'm keeping up with these trends and knowing everything there is to know about my favourite new video game that I've never actually played merely 2 minutes after its release. I'm not going to make any attempt to change that, but I'm still very mad that that's how it is. You're probably just a real big chump. I bet I could ask any of your friends or particularly close relatives and they would, in full confidentiality, tell me that you are, in fact, a chump, therefore making them chumps as well because there never was, to tell the truth, any ounce of confidentiality to begin with. I bet your family tree's a f***ing cactus. Covered in birds. You're probably the kind of person who eats the garnish. You strike me as that type of character. I bet you make a deliberate booking at an upmarket restaurant, go there, order an entire plate of oysters and just eat the little parsley in the middle, then leave a bad Yelp review when you didn't enjoy the food. For God's sake, man, take some responsibility for your actions. You paid for the oysters, the least you could do is try one. Oh, look out, here comes Captain f***ing Finger Paint, what trouble? Why'd they put your swing too close to a wall when you were a child? Was your slide on the second story? Is that why this is happening? Thinking about the kind of person you are makes me wish my brain was more like yours, because who knows, maybe if it was, then I wouldn't have had the thought capacity to conceptualize, write, and release this video, and at the end of the day, would that not be the best possible outcome? Okay, but all jokes aside, holy shit, why is the skip button ending so scary? Like, yeah, this whole video was a big f***ing goof, sure, but what the hell was that about? I thought this whole game was just a funny, silly little meta-contextual romp, my favourite. So why was it able to make me feel such a deep sense of dread on a level I've never felt before? 10 out of 10, I love this game. F*** you, IGN, I bet you can't even count that high.